ICE just murdered a second person. Alex Jeffrey Pretti. ICE just murdered him. Since the second I first found out about this, I've been debating whether it's something I talk about on the channel or not, and I've gone back and forth. At first I was going to make it a Sunday video, but then I just wasn't sure. I'm still not sure, because if you've been watching this channel long enough, first of all, hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I usually talk about board games, also other things. Also, apologies for the cat in the video. I do think that that's a little out of place, but this is my fourth time restarting because the cats keep interrupting, so she's here. She's being still. I don't mind cats in videos in general. I just think the disparity between a cute cat and the conversation today, not what I would have chosen. And I want to start by saying that, let's talk about politics. Let's talk about politics and board games. If you've been watching this channel long enough, you know that I do dabble in things usually related to board games. Usually the politics I touch upon are those that are related to board games. Once in a while, I do a video that is just talking about politics. And again, politics is always such a weird terminology. But let's just talk about, because politics is like, this isn't, I don't know what we call politics or not at this point. But let's just talk about like serious issues that are not specifically board game related, which this very much is a serious issue that is not board game related. But that phrase, keep politics out of board games, keep politics out of my hobby, I understand where that comes from. I understand where the desire comes from, both as potentially the people who are choosing not to talk about things, but also from the people who don't want those things talked about in a space that they go to for something else. Meaning if you, as a viewer, want to follow a politics channel, you're asking for that content, and so it makes sense when it's in your feed, when it's in your YouTube feed, your Facebook feed, your Instagram feed, whatever. If you're following people who talk about politics, you're going to get political content. When you follow people who don't talk about politics, to some people, it's like, well, I don't want that in my feed. I come here for distraction from life. I come here for other things, and so I don't want those things showing up. Whether you agree, sometimes people only don't want those things showing up when they disagree with what's being said. Other times people just genuinely don't want that at all. And I totally respect that. I also respect the fact that from a creator side, like I will never demand that somebody else speak up about something, because that's a never ending game. There's always something going on in the world. There's always an injustice here, an injustice there. It's a never ending game to demand that others speak up and do things about the thing that's important to you. What I can say is that I will always make those determinations for myself of what's important enough for me that I'm going to put quote-unquote politics in your feed. And it's one of those things, I'm sure I'll lose some subscribers. Some, again, because they just don't want this in general. And some because they don't like what I have to say. Different categories of people, but those are people, like, it is what it is. And that's why I debated for so long whether I do this, so long, it's been a day. But, like, if I wait too long, it's old news. There could be a third person murdered with a new justification of what's going on. Who knows? But that's why I debated not doing this video. But ultimately, I'm angry. I'm so angry. I mean, this entire video, I'm going to present as calmly as possible, and I will be talking slower than I usually do because I'm going to be trying to measure my words. But make no mistake, I am so angry. I have spent the past 24 hours just being wrought with, like, what can I do? Like, what can any of us do? And again, some of you are exactly where I am, and others are like, nothing. You should be sitting at home while you let the government carry out the thing that it's supposed to do. Like, there's going to be different people watching this video, which I guess is a good time to talk about the fact that there's going to be 3 different kinds of people watching this video. There's going to be those that agree with me. There's going to be those that never will agree. And there's going to be those in the middle. To those that already agree with me, and to be very clear, my opinion is that the American government and ICE just murdered a second person. Renee Good they already murdered Renee Good. I do not think it was self-defense. There's a whole, I'm not going to get into Renee Good today. I'm going to focus more on this one, but I can't believe it's this one. I can't believe we're at that point already. But I believe the American government and ICE murdered Alex Jeffrey Pretti, and are arguably worse, which we'll get to why, I believe they're lying about it. They're lying about what happened. And I think that's worse, and I'll get into why towards the end. We're going to go through a little bit of stages in this one. That's my own opinion. To those who agree with me, that first category of people, to those who agree with me, great. I'm glad. I'm grateful. This video arguably isn't for you, but I'm grateful that as many of you as possible exist, because I feel like lost in my, I guess, certainty that there's some degree of humanity out there. Like, I feel there's a lot of things I can understand, but like there's people making jokes and memes about it. It's insane to me. It's insane to me that someone would lose their life like this. And you might have an opinion that it was justified. Sure, we can talk about that. We will talk about it. But for you to be callous about it, for you to make memes about it, for you to be like, oh, guess who wasn't a quick draw enough? Like, I've seen so many things on the internet. I need to get off the internet. I need to take a shower. It feels disgusting, genuinely disgusting, and like it feels not great. Category number 2. Those that will never agree. There's a part of me that wants to, like, again, I don't know what's in your social media feed, but in my social media feed, there's a lot of people who I like and respect even more, who are angrily yelling at the camera, I don't care, get off my feed, unsubscribe, unfollow. If you're not angry enough, you're not angry enough. None of us are angry enough. And there's people who are taking that stance to the messaging, and I understand that, and I agree with it so hard. But I also recognize that's not how you change minds. We don't change minds by yelling at all of us yelling at everyone who disagrees with us to get off our lawn, to leave. You're welcome to, by the way. I'm not trying to hold on. This isn't like a business thing where I'm like, please don't lose subscribers. No, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. That's totally fine. I don't mind losing subscribers over this. That's not the thing that's bothering me today. But I'm also not going to chase you away. You do you. To those who will never agree. And never, that doesn't necessarily mean ever, but today, there's no chance that I'm going to change your mind. I recognize that we do not choose what to believe. We are either convinced to believe differently, or we are not. Simply yelling at people usually doesn't really have an impact of actually making us change the way we believe. And that could be equally applicable to me. Maybe I believe wrong. I don't think so, but maybe I believe wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong in this. I recognize that we are coming in with the biases and viewpoints, and that minds aren't changed overnight. Something like this happens and like 1% of the population changes their mind. The next thing happens and 1% of the population changes their mind. But things like this don't immediately make us let go of all of the things that have supported the way we view the world until now. Again, I've talked about this in the channel before. I would definitely, if you go back 8-10 years, I would have said I'm a hardcore conservative with some, liberal values. And as time has gone on, I've moved more to the middle over time. And then at this point, I feel embarrassed to ever say that I would have viewed myself as being Republican. Although I don't know if that's me changing or the party changing. I think it's the party changing. I don't know. Beliefs are not changed overnight, and I get that. But at the very least, regardless of what you believe, please understand that to many others, myself included, it doesn't feel like it's safe out there. It feels like we are on the brink, and many would say not the brink, that we are here, of an authoritative government. It feels like the government has genuinely unleashed an army on the people. With classic things that have been done in the past. I'm not going to say everything's Nazi Germany. It's not. It's not always Nazi Germany. But it's certainly, what's the word? History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. There's certainly similarities. The way you demonize an entire class of people, the way you convince everyone else that the actions they're taking are important to keep you safe, but it's only those other people that are the problem, and how things slowly use existing infrastructures. No one goes, you don't have the army going out on the street overnight and immediately installing a police state. What you do have is slow movements towards that under the guise of protecting the people. It's not you we're after. No, it's just the immigrants. Oh wait, no, it's just blue-haired liberal women who, have like whatever justification you have that makes it an okay person to shoot. Oh wait, now it's just like, now it's a regular white guy, but like he's a white guy who is in the way. It's just, you move the bar one step at a time. And there's many people, myself included, who, whether you agree with us or not, we genuinely don't feel safe. And it feels like you're supporting that. It feels like you're supporting this state of things. It feels that you're acting, and in many cases, not in all cases, that you're acting in complete callousness of what's going on here. And so I'm not even asking you to change your mind. Again, to those who just won't. I'm not asking you to change your mind. I'm just asking you to be human about the difference of opinions, to be human about the way you look at this, if you want to defend X, Y, or Z in a way that I don't find defensible, fine. But don't make fun of it. Don't make light of it. Don't say someone was asking for it. The most defensible opinion you could possibly have is this shouldn't have happened, it was a tragedy, it's horrible, human life was lost, I do think it was avoidable. You can have that opinion. I think it was avoidable. Or you can not even blame the ICE agents. Again, I do. I want to be very, very clear here. This is not fence sitting. I get accused of fence sitting a lot because I usually have a middle ground approach to things. But to me, I have a very, very specific opinion here, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But there's a difference between having my opinion and recognizing you don't change minds by yelling at people. Be human with the way you defend something that personally I find indefensible. But at least be human about how you approach it. To the third class of people, those that might change your minds, whether today, tomorrow, next week. I'm kind of talking about this as if you have an opinion, not that you're the middle. The third class is not people who are in the middle. It's people who believe that this murder was justified. And I'm going to go through a lot of the things that I've seen on social media and talk about those things generally. I recognize that anything like this is not the best way to have a conversation. It's not. And I'm not turning off comments for this video, but I will be monitoring comments. I don't know what I'm going to reply to or not because, frankly, I'm burnt out. I am not on YouTube. This is a different kind of burnout. I'm burnt out on the idea that I've seen the things people are saying in a way that I'm like, how could you possibly have that opinion in it? It hurts me to engage with that. It hurts. Like, I recognize we're all different. I recognize we're coming from different places, but some of the things being said, it hurts me to see it. So, like, I'm going to leave the comments on, but treat each other well. I'll reply or engage where I have the energy and mental headspace to do so, and I won't when I just can't be bothered. Because this is such a... To me, this feels like arguing with a flat earther. To me. I recognize that to you, again, different classes of people who are watching this, I recognize to you it might not. But to me, it feels like arguing with a flat earther. Like, do I really want to spend the time, effort, and attention arguing about this? Like, is it going to make any progress, or is it just a waste of time? It's part of why I debated doing this video. What percentage... Like, a lot of people will already agree with this. That's amazing. A lot of people will never agree. That's sad. Like, what percentage of people will this actually have a positive impact on? I think for me, the thing that tipped me over in making this video is the idea that regardless of whether it has any impact or not, I can't stay silent about it. For me, for my own sense. Again, I'm not judging anyone who does. Like, I think it's so complicated. Life is complicated in general. We all pick our battles. We are all emotionally affected by different things. For me, for my own sense of what bothers me, I can't stay silent about this. But going back to that third class of people, I've heard a lot of things. One of the worst things I've seen again and again is he approached them with a gun. He didn't. There's video evidence from like 15 different angles. I've watched every video that has shown up in my feed. I've tried searching for other videos. He is filming them. And a lot of the times, the image shown when people are posting, he approached them with a gun, he's holding a camera and you can see that. There is not a single image out there. And if you have one, by all means share it. I will look at anything. There's not a single image of any kind out there that he approached them with a gun. Unless you mean he approached them while having a gun on him, which is a very different sentence. And you are legally allowed. He had a concealed carry permit. He was completely within his rights to have a gun on him. We'll get to that soon, though. But he did not approach them with a gun. He didn't. And anyone and everyone who repeats this lie to you, one of my biggest things about this is not just that he was murdered, but it has become a propaganda war where lies are being said to defend and justify what happened. But there's lies. There are defensible things you can say that I disagree with, but at least it can strike a chord of truth. When your government is lying to you, when influencers are lying to you, yes, I'm an influencer, yes, and from your opinion, I might be lying to you, but like, there's evidence of this. He did not approach them with a gun. Number 2, he shouldn't have had a gun on him. That's his Second Amendment right. A right that is often defended by the very categories of people who are actively justifying his death, are usually the kinds of people who are very much in favor of exercising your Second Amendment rights. I am not personally a gun owner. I don't feel strongly about guns one way or the other on a personal level. I think that it's a long conversation. I'm not going to get into right now. But regardless of my own lack of carrying a gun, he had a right to carry a gun. A right that is often defended by those who are attacking him right now. Number 3, he shouldn't have been protesting or filming. That's his First Amendment right. Any argument that starts with he got shot because he was exercising his First or Second Amendment rights, that is not a lawful argument. That is not an argument in favor of any form of law. That is an argument of, hey, you just have to shut up and be quiet or the government will shoot you. Well, he had a gun on him. He was filming. He was protesting. Those are all defensible rights. To be shot for a defensible right. Like, sure, last time with Renee Good, she was hitting him with his car. I don't believe she was. I believe she was trying to escape, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. And part of the reason I didn't do a video back then is because I recognize it's a rabbit hole of interpretation. But like, there's no interpretation on this one so far. He was not doing... You can't be shot for exercising your rights. You can't. I mean, you can, clearly. You're not supposed to be. And when we are, and when the government defends that, it's a problem. Number 4. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations and you won't get hurt. What is it? It's the, I'm going to swear, I apologize, but fuck around and find out, right? Like that whole thing. Like, don't fuck around. What is it? FAFO, whatever it is. I will acknowledge that personally, I don't put myself in those situations. That's a personal choice. It's also a choice that, to a certain extent, comes from cowardice, to be very, very clear. It's, I don't want to put myself in a situation in which I'm in danger because I don't want to get hurt. Even if I'm doing so because I believe in what I'm saying. Like, it's my level of risk tolerance is I'll lose some subscribers over something. That's my level of risk tolerance over here. I wouldn't go to a protest. Maybe if things get worse, maybe, who knows? I don't know. But like right now, I'm like, I don't want to put myself in that situation. I don't want to do that. I recognize the concept of don't put yourself in dangerous situations and you won't get hurt. I do. But that's not an excuse for killing someone. People are allowed to protest. People are allowed to have concealed carry permits. And then another thing, the thing that I've constantly said on this channel is, are you being morally consistent? Not morally. Are you being consistent? Forget morally. Are you being consistent with how you do things, with how you view things? Because if your argument is don't put yourself in dangerous situations and you won't get hurt, by that argument, would you have been okay with every single January 6th protester being shot by the police? Like, what would your stance have been there? Would you have been equally like, oh, well, you know, don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Just stay home. Stay home. It's safer out there. Because if you would have that opinion, at least you are consistent. But if you wouldn't have had that opinion there and you have it here, then you're just letting your politics guide your opinion. You are not letting your opinion guide your politics. You're letting your politics guide your opinion. You're not leading the horse is leading you. And I think so many people do that, myself included, by the way. I'm not immune to this. We all have our biases. There's no question about that. But I try to be as consistent as possible with the way I view things. And there's a lot of like, well, what about this? What about that going on? You should be consistent across the board. Even things like when I mentioned earlier, like at least try, like, even if you're going to disagree with me, at least be human about it. If your answer is, well, that Democrat there laughed when that thing happened to that Republican, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. When Charlie Kirk got shot, I was against anyone who in any way made light of his death, anyone who said he deserved it. Like, you can be against Charlie Kirk. You don't have to get into, like, the things that were said are horrific. I'm against it on any side. There's a way to be human. There's a way to have differences of opinions. And then there's whatever is going on in this country now. And again, to that third grouping of people, those who might change your mind in some way, some capacity. You're coming at this, you're starting this video off by disagreeing with me completely. Sure. By the way, there's lots of videos. You should watch all of the videos. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of coverage of this. And then there's what the government is telling you, which is a big concern, by the way. I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest problems for me is that the government is lying to you. The government, both with Renee Good and with Alex Pretti, both situations, they are changing the narrative from what would be a reasonable response to instantly accusing those people of intent to cause harm, trying to cause harm, justifying their deaths as domestic terrorists. There's a way to have this conversation. You can reasonably say, if you're a Christian, you can stand up and you can say, this was a tragic death. It shouldn't have happened. We're looking into it. We're running an investigation. He was involved. There was a scuffle. It does appear that the shooting was justified. Obviously, we wish this hadn't happened. It's a horrible... There's ways you can have this conversation and you could at least kind of cling to a shred of humanity while defending yourself, and that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. And if you're in that camp, if you're someone who's like, oh my gosh, this shouldn't have happened, but like, I do understand how it could have happened, and you're just... Again, I can understand that. I can respect that. I don't agree with it. But can I respect where it's coming from? But for you to say that he shouldn't have been carrying a gun when he's allowed to is wrong. For you to say that he shouldn't have been protesting when he's allowed to is wrong. For you to say that he intentionally was getting in the way of law enforcement, that he was like attacking them or approaching them with a gun, is wrong. You could say, oh, in his efforts to defend the woman from being pepper sprayed, they took that as assault and they got in the way. And then even though he was disarmed before they shot him, you could say, well, they didn't necessarily realize that because a lot of things is in the heat of the moment. You could have conversations. I don't agree with any of them, but at least they're rational and sound. What does it take to change your mind? What can Trump do that would make you say, I don't support that? What can ICE do that would make you say, I don't support that? And most importantly, at what point are you willing to vote differently? At what point are you willing to say that this doesn't represent your value system? At what point do you stop defending things because it aligns with your politics and it's good enough? There's a thing I've seen going around, not just today, but for a while now. The best time to speak up was then. The second best time is now. As someone who once upon a time supported Trump, I never voted for him because Canadian. By the way, I'm fully aware that doing a video like this does put me on maybe some tangential list. There are things I'm willing to risk, but as someone who once upon a time was a supporter of Trump, and I recognize that as got me in trouble. I was never a diehard Trumper, to be clear, but I was like, oh yeah, I was intrigued by the possibility of whatever, I'm not getting into it. I was wrong, and I have very much changed my mind a long time ago. This isn't recent. A long time ago I changed my mind because it got too much for me. It got to a point where the things that I was in favor of came at too high a cost of what I felt was human values. And that's my own personal journey. For me, the best time to speak up was then, and the second best time was now. Except my now was 8 years ago. Your now could be today. Your now could be tomorrow. What you have to do is you have to look around and genuinely ask whether these values align with your own. And if they do, so be it. There's only so much I can do. But if they don't, at the very least, it is okay to say these don't match my values. I'm not even saying vote differently. God, I hope you do, but I'm not saying vote differently. Start with acknowledging, I still support this party because of the overall picture, but this is wrong. That should be a sentence that is okay to say. You can vote how you want, you can support the party, you can give all the reasons why it's still good for you and why you think it's best for values, country, whatever it is, but start by looking at the actions you know are wrong and saying that they are wrong. Start there. You don't have to agree with Alex Pretti's decision to be there, with his decision to be armed. You don't have to agree with Renee Good's decision to be there, or the fact that she tried to drive away instead of getting out of the car. But in all of these cases, you should ask yourself, why is the government lying to you? Why are they calling them domestic terrorists? Why are they assigning the most malicious of intent with nothing to support it? Why are they effectively structuring it in a way that for those who aren't willing to look further, for those who aren't willing to watch the videos, for those who are only going to parrot what they hear from whichever source they want to follow, they're making these people easy targets to justify their murders, instead of having a real conversation. Again, you could have a real conversation of, we're going to look into it, do our best to train better. There's conversations you can have, and they are not having them. You should ask yourself whether you really believe what you believe, or whether you believe what you're being told to believe. For those who don't want videos like this on the channel, I genuinely get it. They'll be infrequent. God, I hope they're infrequent, because I only do videos like this when things are bad. I will always dabble in politics related stuff that is tangential to board games. I'm a board game channel. I do board game news. I'll talk about tariffs and things like that because they affect the hobby we're in, and that is what it is. That's just the type of channel I am. I'm going to talk about those things. once we move outside the realm of affecting board games directly in any way, shape, or form, I do try to keep those to a minimum. I do. But I didn't feel like this was something that I could just be silent about and just pretend it wasn't happening. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week's videos. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know how to end a video like this. Normally I'm going like, hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and I hope you have a good one. But like, regardless of what you believe, I hope that as a country, as people, as neighbors, or I guess in this context, people who share the same love of board games, I hope things can get better. I just hope things can get better.